Hi, and thanks for listening to Gossip with Celebrity, brought to you by Celebrity.com. This week, we're going to talk about Candace Bushnell, Duchess Meghan, Cabello and Shawn Mendes, and Frankenfoods. Our user question is about our favorite celebrity feuds, and we end with our weekly feature, The Comments of the Week. The stories and photos we talk about here can be found at Celebrity.com/podcast under episode 24. Hi, I'm Katie, the founder and editor of Celebrity.com, and I write as Celebrity.
And I'm Chandra. I'm the head writer for Celebrity, and I write as Kaiser.
So the last time we talked to your mom was still in the hospital. You have any updates on how she's doing?
Yeah, she's being moved this week into the physical therapy place. It's sort of close to the hospital.
Okay.
And she's gonna be there for several weeks. It's utter chaos because, there's so much different stuff to be done, and everyone was freaking out because one part of her Medicare was ending and then a new part was beginning, and I had to find all this paperwork and blah blah blah. It was just a giant ass ache, basically. It was horrible.
I'm so sorry.
And that brings us to that Candace Bushnell story. When I talked a little bit about my mom and what I've been going through the past month, and Candace Bushnell found herself in her 50s, divorced, child-free or childless, whichever term you like.
I like child-free.
Yeah, I like it too. Child-free, and she's 60 now, and she's sort of reflecting on the past decade of her life of not having the anchor of children, feeling who is going to take care of me? And she just decided to move to the Hamptons with a bunch of girlfriends who are all the same age, and they're just taking care of each other in this little pre-retirement community. And
that sounds fun. That's Golden Girl's dream,
Yeah, I've just been thinking a lot about not only how to take care of my mom, even though I'm sick of it. I'm already really frustrated. I took care of my dad for several years, and that was a huge ass ache as well. I'm just not built for it. And I know that sounds like I'm being selfish, and I am. I'm a selfish person. But
no, I don't. I understand what you're saying, but I don't think that's the case. I mean, we shouldn't have to be caregivers like that.
Yeah.
You gave up a lot of years to your dad,
Yeah. So, anyway, and I liked that everyone was sort of talking about Candace Bushnell and the stuff that they've been through with their parents and the different kinds of, not everyone has the same path. Not everyone has the same kind of parents who prepared for their retirement and prepared to what would happen if they got sick. And my mom was not as prepared as she thought she was.
So she did do some stuff to prepare, just it wasn't.
Yeah, I mean, she's been retired for a few years, and so I mean, she had a lot of financial stuff in order, but I wish she would have prepared better.
Yeah, people don't expect this kind of health setback either, and it comes as a surprise. I was really sad when my parents moved away, and I miss them, every day. And at the same time, they're in a community with a lot of other people around with medical resources and that sort of thing. So I couldn't help them, but they wouldn't need me to help.
Yeah, and I mean, it's difficult for you because you were so close to your parents, you saw them all the time, and then suddenly you didn't. Suddenly you had to fly to see them, and you can't check in like that. But on the plus side, it's not like me where I had to make a run to the hospital 3 times in a 30-hour period.
Yeah, it's...
I mean, it's a pain in the ass either way.
Yeah.
I know this isn't funny, but it's just...
No. And then, my mom just told me this week that my dad's brother and his wife and her sister and her husband and my 2 married aunts are all thinking of moving down there. So 3 different couples. You can get a really nice house for $250,000, and there's no taxes in Florida, and there's so much stuff to do, and they can all get part-time jobs if they want. A few still work. So, good for them. I don't ever want to live down there, but...
Yeah, we've talked about that before. I could never live in Florida just because of the humidity. I think
the heat,
it would just drive me up the wall. But, I mean, the whole idea of, a retirement community where everyone I mean, that sounds cool to me. It sounds cool to me right now. So.
Yeah, I mean, I've been hanging out more with other women and just being around more people and having more people around. And I wish I lived closer. It just is nice. It's nice to do stuff. It's nice to be around people. And my mom goes to all these activities and she does bridge and she's been having a nice time. But yeah, I'm so sorry about your mom. And I hope the new facility works. And I hope that you're over the worst part of it with the insurance. Ugh.
The Medicare is going to pay for this physical therapist place, but it was just a matter of she couldn't stay at the hospital, in that part of the hospital, much longer, basically.
Getting back to Candace Bushnell, she retweeted me once, which was really nice. I covered a story in The Cut about her daily activities, which I like talking about people's routines and stuff. And so she seems like she's connected to coverage about her. I wonder if she's been reading what we've been writing. And she's got that new book that coming out. Is There Still Sex After 50? Is that what it's called?
No, Is There Still Sex in the City?
Oh, yeah.
And
there's still sex and just isn't in the city. It's in the Hamptons.
Her answer is that there is still sex in the city, but there's less. There's less sex.
Oh, okay.
And there are fewer relationships. Yeah. Which I think is true.
Okay. And a lot of women, I think we talked about this too, a lot of women at that age are just stuck in bad marriages too and wish they were single. But because you really know what you want out of life at that age. She also talked about turning 50 and how it feels like you're erased. And I don't think she talked as much. She did a separate interview, which you covered. I don't think she talked as much about feeling less physically attractive, but Gwyneth Paltrow talked about that. And she used a lot of big $10 words, which were ridiculous.
I thought that Candace was more reflective of, I don't know. She just talked about it in a more authentic way.
Yeah.
I thought she just sounded like she misses
society.
Yeah, she misses flirting.
Yeah.
She misses romance. She missed all of it. Where I think Gwyneth Paltrow, she was talking about that she was the hot young thing at one point and that now she's not, and how she feels about that. And she made it all about her. But I thought people were I know I'm very harsh about Gwyneth Paltrow, but I thought people were being a little bit too harsh about Gwyneth.
Well, she used that word pulchritude, like she was describing how your inner beauty comes out or something, and it sounded ridiculous. And yeah, but it's Gwyneth. It's all about her all the time. But she's saying something that's true. When you get older, you feel less desired or whatever. But who knows what that's like, because we've never been these movie star people. Average people were like, whatever.
Yeah. And that was the point I made in that Gwyneth post is her, I'm no longer the most fuckable woman in the world. Is that just like an average woman's day?
Yeah, whatever. We've all, yeah. And then the big thing this week, and this was funny, and you wrote about it really well, was just so many stories came out about Duchess Meghan guest editing Vogue UK's September issue. And there were just so many stories, story after story.
Okay, we're recording this on the Thursday, and this previous Sunday was the first drop for the British Vogue, whatever. They released the cover, and they made the big announcement about how Meghan had guest edited it and blah, 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 blah. And I was expecting a steady drip of exclusives to come out throughout the week. But no.
Like most magazines do.
Yeah.
Most magazines know how to do that.
Yeah, if you have this huge exclusive and it's in all these different parts, you spread it out so you don't step on your own news cycle.
Yes.
But instead, British Vogue released like 10 exclusives in a 24-hour period and then like 20 exclusives in a 48-hour period. Now we're sitting here on Thursday and they haven't released anything today.
They could have really spread it out over the week. They could have spread it out into next week.
Yeah, seriously. I don't know why they did that. And people were like trying to justify Edward NFL and Meghan personally. I wasn't attacking Meghan personally. I was attacking not even attacking, just criticizing the editorial decision and the promotional decision of British Vogue that they released too much information too fast. And they stepped on their own news cycle.
Yeah, they did that. And we also both came to this conclusion that her writing, she's not an editor. She's not a professional editor. She needed a professional editor. Her writing is very flowery and self-referential. I'll say that. It's not as bad as, like, say, Elizabeth Gilbert's crap that she writes on Facebook or whatever.
No.
Or even Lena Dunham.
I would say that Meghan actually is very Elizabeth Gilbert-esque.
Okay, fair enough.
I
Yeah.
referenced Gwyneth Paltrow, but it is very that sort of self-absorbed. They're sort of like post-New Age, but they still use that kind of language.
Maybe she's influenced by that type of writing too, and that's
very clear that she's influenced by that. You know, everything is impactful. Everything is just so precious, and so there's so much whimsy in the world, and if only people could see this whimsy. Oh.
We cover gossip and celebrity news stories, so we're very matter of fact, to the point, and we strive to use words which are not. We don't embellish a lot. You know, this is our opinion, blah. This type of writing is different. I get that argument. It is still tedious to us, and it still reads as just give me a break.
Well, that's the thing also, is that, you know, this is our job, and we read all day. I'm reading articles all day.
Yeah, exactly.
This was difficult to read. It was difficult to, like, sit there and not cringe. Oh, Meghan, please don't write like this.
Yeah. So we said I would read part of it with the music, because it is that type of passage.
Okay, go ahead, read it.
All right. So this is a passage from her editor's letter about waiting for an answer while texting with British Vogue editor Edward Ennifel about whether she could guest edit this issue. I sent the text, the ellipses, the ... that inspires the greatest practice of patience in this digital era. And then it appeared, EE's reply, yes, I would love for you to be my guest editor. Sitting on my sofa at home, 2 dogs nestled across me, I quietly celebrated when the words appeared on my screen.
For God's sake.
I know, like, okay, I sent him a text. He said yes. Oh, I was so excited.
Or how about this? We don't need...
I was so excited when he said...
Yeah, we don't need to know that you asked him via text. We don't need to know that.
Or you could just say, we were texting and I asked him and he said yes and it was great. If you want to tell that whole story. Otherwise, this is just so long and ridiculous, and we don't need this whole scene of you with your dogs nestled. I don't think I've ever used the word nestled in language, just in a conversation or in writing. I'm going to look through our archives and see if I've ever used the word nestled. That is a ridiculous word.
All right. So with all of that being said, with all of our like petty criticisms, this would be a lot more.
I don't think it's petty. I think it's pretty legit what we're saying. But go ahead.
I'm going to say we're petty. I think with all of our petty criticisms, this would be so much more fun for us to make these kind of criticisms if everyone else had just reacted normally to the British Vogue stuff. But instead, everyone freaked the hell out and went to like the most racist tropes, the most negative energy.
Yeah. We really like her. We both really like her. She is a genuine person. She feels things deeply. She's very empathic with people. She's kind. She works hard. We like her. She's not a great writer.
Yeah, she seems like a lovely person. I think she would probably annoy me if I really knew her and like she really talks like that in real life.
I don't think she talks like that. That's the thing. I feel like people should write how they talk. You write in a very conversational way that is so nice and easy to read. Not easy. It's fun to read, I should say. It is. I love reading your stories. And I strive to write that way too. But I think she writes differently than she talks, and that's the problem.
Well, I think she writes like a wannabe lifestyle blogger.
Yeah.
So maybe that is very Gwyneth. But it's also
pretentious, and it's hard to slog through. Your writing should not be... Okay, the way we write, your writing shouldn't be about you. You can put little anecdotes in it, but it should be about making it fun and interesting for the reader.
Especially since she made such a big fucking deal about how she didn't want to be on the cover because that would be too self-absorbed or whatever. And then she like writes like this editor's note that's just this navel-gazing crap. Several paragraphs on how she texted the editor. That's it. Oh.
I asked for this and I got it. And my dogs were there. It was wonderful. But even... I like when I can make you snort. But even,
that should be like the ending for every Meghan story. And my dogs were there. It was wonderful.
Well, that's nice. I like that. Just take some pictures, put them on the Instagram for Sussex Royal. You will just show your dogs. We'll forgive your bullshit writing. So, and then she did that capsule collection for Smartworks, and that is where she really shines. Like what she did for the cookbook with the Grenfell women at the kitchen. She figures out what they need. She works with them and comes up with a solution. Right. So we should say what I'm talking about a little more, I guess.
All right. Last year she was made the patron. Was it last year or this year? I forget. But
I think it was last year.
Yeah, last year.
But it's already August. What the hell?
Yeah,
oh
she was made. At some point, she was made the patron of Smartworks, which is an organization that provides training and clothing to women getting back on their feet and applying for jobs. And so they need workwear and they need training to do interviews and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Meghan, this is right up her alley. I guess she chose this patronage for herself. And it was a great choice. And she's already made a bunch of visits, and that's what we learned this week, is that she's made a lot of quiet visits. As she was going through the clothes that are being offered to these women, she realized that there were a lot of mismatched pieces and not a lot of staples. That would be my assumption. There weren't like black trousers, white blouses, that kind of thing.
Because everyone keeps those.
So she decided to design a capsule collection, and I would assume that she would have those kind of staples in her capsule collection. And the way it works is that the collection will be sold at various British outlets like Jigsaw and Marks and Spencer, and then for every time you buy one in one of those stores, then one of those items gets donated to Smartworks.
Yeah, and that's how a lot of these social entrepreneurship companies work, like Tom's of Maine and Warby Parker, and they donate a pair of shoes or glasses for everything you buy. And that was clever and nice. I think that was a great solution, and that's where she does really well, and she comes up with these solutions and she's making a difference, and that's great.
First announcement of this capsule collection came 48 hours after the British Vogue cover came out. So she stepped on her own news cycle again.
Maybe that's why they smushed it all together, because they're like, we're going to do the Smartworks. Okay. It's going to be in the middle of the week. We got to do everything in the beginning of the week.
And my dogs were there, and it was wonderful.
They were nestled on my...
Yeah, so basically the end of this is that Meghan is great. She does great things. We love that she works. We love that she has all of these inspirations and that she, quote unquote, loves impactful bullshit. We love all that. We love it. It's great.
We do. Just dial it down.
She needs to work on her writing. If she's going to write for a publication or for Instagram, she needs to have someone she trusts edit her and give her suggestions.
Ooh, I have a question. People hate being edited. It wasn't necessarily her. This is my theory about it. It wasn't necessarily her not wanting to be edited. It was other people not wanting to edit her.
Yeah, I think
because of her position.
I think, once she came on and started to put together the issue with everyone else, and then she was like, I'm going to sit down and write my editor's note. And they read it and they were like, oh, shit. Who's going to tell her? And no one wanted to tell her.
Or maybe they reviewed it and they all were like, oh, that's great. And they wouldn't admit it, even in the meeting. Like, oh, no. All right, let's move on to this fun story. So Camila Cabello, and I looked up how to pronounce her name, and Shawn Mendes have been linked since they did that Señorita video in late June. And we heard around the time that it dropped that Camila had split with her boyfriend. And then in July, we saw this video of Camila and Shawn making out at a diner. And then this week, there were very obvious photos of them making out in a pool in Miami. And we don't get exclusive photos ever. And our agency had these one of our agencies had these photos. So that means that a lot of photographers were there.
And I think we can name check the photo agency, Backgrid. So Backgrid has had maybe a dozen exclusives of Shawn and Camila. And they, they're obviously posed photos every time, just very casually walking down the street, Camila looking up at him like she's totally in love with him, and on and on and on for like us maybe 3 or 4 weeks. It's just been photo shoot after photo shoot. But then these Miami pool photos came out and I was like, oh my God, they're not exclusive. Yay. And
because we don't have that. Subscription is expensive, so we don't have that.
And so when the photos came out, I was so in love with them, and they're just so posed and so awkward, and it's so obvious, and I love them so much for organizing this photo shoot in a pool.
It was awesome.
He's kissing her and he looks bored. She's trying to point out where the camera is so he can get his best angle. And she's
hugging up on him, like looking up at him.
She's trying to kiss his chest and he's like trying to talk to someone else. It was amazing. The photo shoot is just, it's incredible.
We'll have the photos in this post, celebrity.com/podcast. Or you can just go to Celebrity and search on Camilla and whatever. So that was really fun and the comments were great, so check that out. And I'm glad that they did that. Whatever their situation is, whether it's a PR romance or summer fling, it's fun.
I think it can be both. I think that I think they're genuinely having sex. I don't want to picture it necessarily. But I do think
I was just doing that as you said that. I was like, oh, now I'm thinking about them, and they're so young.
Think they're having sex, but I also think that there's a heavy, heavy, heavy dose of PR.
Yeah.
But, they're having a hot girl summer. Let them.
Okay. And then I wanted to talk about this because I thought it was funny. We had 2 minor disagreements on Twitter this week about Frankenfoods.
You're disgusting. You're absolutely disgusting. Your taste.
You burned me. You cut me deep.
Your taste in food is garbage. I'm just going to say it.
Why? What did I do wrong? I said okay. All right. So we are discussing 2 different tweets that you made this week. They're both from People magazine. They know what they're doing with these Frankenfoods. So one was the pumpkin pie Kit Kat. Listen to pumpkin pie Kit Kat and try not to gag. And the other one is French's mustard flavored ice cream. Now, the pumpkin pie Kit Kat will actually be in stores all this fall. And then the French's mustard ice cream is just like a novelty flavor in a few places in LA or California and New York. So I said I would take one for the team and try the pumpkin pie Kit Kat. That only means I'm going to bite it. It doesn't mean I'm going to eat the whole thing. Not even the entire broke off row of Kit Kat. I'm not going to. But you were like, that's terrible. You suck. Something like that.
Well, how is it that you would try pumpkin pie Kit Kat and you won't even acknowledge that good quality white chocolate is really nice?
Acknowledge is not the way to phrase that. But I forgot a major angle to why I don't like white chocolate when we last discussed this. And that is the fact that I had food poisoning once after I'd eaten white chocolate. It was not the white chocolate's fault, but that really soured me on white chocolate. However, I still maintain it's garbage and I wouldn't like it
you
anyway.
told me that before and I still don't care.
Oh, okay. I forgot. You still don't care. Harsh.
You're going to try pumpkin pie Kit Kats? Which, I'm sorry.
I would try it. I'm going to try it. What the hell? It's chocolate.
It's barely chocolate. Pumpkin pie Kit Kat? You're calling that chocolate? No.
We'll see. I mean, maybe it'll be palatable. But yeah. So I've tried white chocolate many times. I'm just saying I would try pumpkin pie Kit Kat. So that's a different level of whatever. And then the mustard ice cream, somebody was like, I hate all mustard. Okay, I lived in Germany. Okay, I have had the best mustard on the best foods. there are amazing mustards.
Yeah.
Like the mustards that people have here, they're just the garbage mustards. You have really good mustard.
I like a good mustard. I like a good honey mustard.
Yeah.
Honey mustard is my absolute favorite.
Yes, I make my own.
But
it's good,
I think the whole idea of mustard flavored ice cream is what is a huge turnoff.
It is gross. It's just a novelty thing. And I mean, they say it's sweeter than you expect, and then it has a
that
mustardy
almost made me
finish.
heave a little bit. Ooh, it's sweeter than you. Ooh.
Yeah, so we're never going to get to try it because it's not by us. But the pumpkin, we'll see. I'll report back. It comes out today. It's probably not. Oh my gosh! Well, I have to go grocery shop and I'll look for it at Walmart.
Ooh.
I'll try to get my kid's coming home today. I haven't seen him all summer. I miss him a lot, and I'll try to get him to eat it too.
No thanks, Mom.
All right, let's move on to the user questions. So we got a question on Twitter on our podcast post, which is the best place to ask us questions because if everybody gives the questions and feedback in one place, it's easier to corral. CT asked, "Thanks for the podcast. They start off my week in the best way. Question for you. What's been your favorite feud between two celebrities to cover?"
And I said, I was really thinking about it because so many of the feuds are like divorce feuds and they end up so depressing.
And sad, yeah.
Like the Brangelina stuff was so depressing. You know, it involved like allegations of child abuse and like shit like that. It's just horrible.
Kids
and
involved,
like the Johnny Depp Amber Heard, that was horrible as well.
Oof.
So what was a fun feud is like Kim Kardashian and Taylor Swift. Like that was fun as hell, even though people had really strong opinions about it and all that.
It might have been expensive.
Yeah,
it might have cost some money to some people.
Yeah, it did, but that's because someone involved has very strong feelings about how one of us writes.
Discussed. Yeah.
The other fun feud was, and it was just a small thing, was Miley Cyrus and Nicki Minaj. But once again, that was like based on a serious issue. It was fun though, because Nicki Minaj called her out so hard. Miley was a complete bitch to her in like the New York Times, and Minaj called her out on the stage of the VMAs. That was a great feud.
She said, "What's good?" Yeah.
And Minaj is still calling her Purdue chicken. Oh, that's great. And then I also thought of this as I was covering the Kristen Stewart Vanity Fair cover. It's not really a feud, but it was so much fun to cover. It was everything involving Kristen Stewart and the breakup with Robert Pattinson and the whole banging her director, Rupert Sanders, in the Mini Cooper. It was ridiculous, and it was so much fun.
We've talked about that on the podcast. That's like the gold standard. You always want a fun scandal like that.
Yeah.
So let's move on to the comments of the week. Quimby, our new writer, is a disability advocate, and she covered a story today about Eva Longoria opening up about what she's learned from her sister, who has an intellectual disability. And we got a really nice comment from, her name is Sleanne, and she works in a residential home. And she wrote, "The people I work with have very extreme challenges. My youngest said, 'I love you,' and it suddenly hit me that some of the people I worked with are nonverbal. Their parents have never heard those words. I felt like the richest person in the world, and I cried for about 10 minutes. My next shift, I really paid attention to body language and facial expression. One lad pressed his forehead against mine after we did something together, and it became really clear he was thanking me." Just thought that was really nice. And she said that she's developed connections with people, and she likes that. She really loves that job.
That's really nice.
Yeah. I was getting all choked up reading that.
I was getting choked up with some of the Candace Bushnell comments about people dealing with their parents, and it was hitting very close to home.
Yeah.
But I did not pick any of those comments for my comment of the week. I chose something very light.
Oh, I saw this one. I'm looking at it now. I saw this one.
Okay, it's from the Cabello and Shawn Mendes frolicking in the pool story. Someone said, "Stop it." And commenter Zach Brannigan said, "No, you stop it, please. Nev, you are just a jelly hater who cannot handle this much love, passion, lust. And my eyebrows have been scorched right off my stunning face at the heat and sexual chemistry these two are exuding. This is the kind of heat that could poach eggs, Nev. Actual honest to goodness, fresh off the farm from under the chicken eggs. If only we could have this sort of hot love, we could cook breakfast foods."
Oh, man.
There were some great comments in that post.
There were. And there were good comments on Instagram for that, too. I just put them all. Oh, I'll put this in the podcast post, but I put them all together in like a little collage. I used one of those online collage maker things. We went really fast today.
Yeah, but we covered a lot of stuff. Huh.
We did. We're getting faster at this. So thanks for listening, bitches.
Thanks, bitches.
Thank you for listening to the Celebrity Podcast. If you could please rate, review, and subscribe to us on iTunes, Stitcher, or your platform of choice, it will really help us, and we appreciate it a lot. You can call us and leave a voicemail at 434-218-3219. Our website is celebrity.com, and we're also on Twitter under that handle and on Instagram as Celebrity Official. Thanks again.